Great morning to y'all. I hope you guys all woke up grateful for your day. I hope you all reminded yourself of all of the reasons that you have to be grateful. I hope that you're setting a high vibe. I hope you're pushing past limitations, and I hope that you're growing out of and evolving out of obstacles because it's an opportunity for you. I hope you're seeing that setbacks are time for redirection. And yeah, I know I was on before and I hopped off, but Wendell's going to come on with me any minute now. And that's why I'm back on live. So great Monday to you all. I'm just waiting for Wendell to hop on. There he is. Hey, great morning.
All right.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Another week to go, so I'm doing okay. I'm good. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
How was your weekend? Did you refuel right?
Uh, for the most part, I did. I just went and hung out with one of my boys there, and yeah, we just kicked it a little bit. You know.
Cool. I figured we might not have too much of a turnout this morning. That's why I went on quick and came off. Only because it's a holiday. It's
Yes,
jump
that's
up
true.
weekend Toronto, right? So
That's
I
true.
don't yeah, it could have been a huge party weekend because I know it's a civic holiday in Ontario. I don't know if I guess you guys don't have it.
um, no, but on the map, it's still like a holiday.
Okay. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
so that's probably why. That's why I hopped on this morning, saw nobody was really out there, and I was like, oh, okay, and I didn't see you. I was like, maybe he's having a good weekend too. But you're off to work today?
Yes, I am. Like not right now, but yeah, I'm working today, so no holiday for me.
Well, that's okay. Hey, good. So well, you know what? People will catch this on the replay anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I came on briefly to check an email because I got a text message on Saturday. Toby, please go check your email. So when I hopped on, my Facebook was already on my page, like, when you open your laptop. And so
Yeah.
right away, immediately I saw you're live. And I was like, oh, he's live. And I wanted to see what you were talking about or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was there for maybe 30 seconds, but it was urgent that I went and checked this email. So
Okay.
what was your live about?
Well, usually when I do lives like that, I kind of just again, it's just kind of practice, you know. So I just kind of go on and I'm like, hey, how's everybody doing? Does anybody want to chit chat or whatever? And then I just kind of have like, conversation. So people will jump in. Actually, I use it also too as a good way to reconnect with some friends that I haven't spoke to in a long time in Montreal. So so it's kind of good actually because I found out that one of my old school friends, actually, I think you know her too. She's actually out here, and she said that Tuesday, Wednesday, she wants to hang out. I was like, oh, okay.
Who's
Penny
that? The one
McGurdy.
on vacation or the one that lives out there?
Penny McGurdy. No,
Oh
she's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Penny's on vacation out there.
yeah.
You know what? I was thinking that this whole weekend. I'm like, Penny's out there. I hope she's gonna go see Wendell.
That's funny. But yeah. So I was talking with Sylvie there a couple days ago, and she was like the same thing. I was telling her I said maybe in October because I wanted to go down to Montreal September October. And she's like, oh yeah, supposed if you come down, let me know. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So there's like her, there's my friend Jennifer Pilon. There's so many friends that I have so
Well,
many friends.
I'll tell you what. If you come down in October, that's my birthday month.
Oh really?
Yeah, and
When's your birthday?
October 17th. I'm a Libra.
October 17th.
Yes. So listen, I so look, since we don't have any look, I'll tell you right now, if you come down in October, I was talking the other morning on the live talking and mentioning about a throwback bash of all old school and whatever.
Okay.
Hey, perfect opportunity if you decide that you're going to come down, let me know because I have not thrown a birthday party in about 20 years, but
Oh,
this year would be the year if you're traveling this way. and we would have a blowout. Like, yeah, have a party. Everybody just get together. It's still warm enough outside that we could do it
That's true.
outside.
True. That's why I was thinking of coming down around that time because, well, there's that, but then there's also October 26th is my brother's birthday.
Oh, sweet,
October
sweet.
October 12th is my daughter's birthday.
Nice.
I have a couple other friends that their birthday is like in October too. So, you know, so I was just thinking, okay, you know what? Since I wasn't able to go down this summer, because I really wanted to go down this summer too, you know. And yeah, so since I wasn't able to come down this summer, I thought, oh, you know what? October is really nice in Montreal because it's still warm, but it's cooling off a little bit. And sometimes you get Indian summer like that too, right? And here we haven't really had much of a summer, to be honest. Like it's just now lately starting to get a little bit hot, but we're like freaking August already. I can't believe how how fast we're here, you know?
Yeah, it freaks me out.
Oh man, it's almost scary because I'm just like, and this is just me, like personally, I'm always the guy that thinks ahead, right? So I'm already thinking, ugh, snow tires, you know, like all the winter stuff, you know, it's like hockey, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for I'm not mentally ready for that yet, but that's just the way my brain works, you know.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody talking about how, okay, well, this winter I have to do this, and it's like I'm already gauging myself. But it's just the way it is. That's how we do it, right? We're always,
Yeah, it's
and
the
that's why it's so hard to live in the now because we know what's coming. So it's like,
yeah, it's a state of preparedness, you know.
yeah, but I'd
But
rather
yeah,
be prepared than not.
that's true. That's true.
So no, but that's awesome. Okay, so listen, maybe you know what, I've got these ideas spinning in my head. So if you plan on coming down, maybe we could take it up a notch, even better than yeah, blowout's cool, but maybe we could throw an event.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
You know what, we'll let that just sit there for wherever, and we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
I think that yeah,
What kind
you
of
know,
event?
oh,
You
maybe just a motivational event, a throwback bash
oh,
where everybody gets together, but everybody walks
positive.
away feeling better
Oh,
than just a reconnection.
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like get a couple of people to get up there, keynote speakers, you, me, couple of others, get up there and encourage and motivate everybody. Like, anybody who wants to bring a little something to it. Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Yeah.
So, is there
Yeah.
anything that specific topics? Because I know I was checking for topics, but I didn't see any. Did you have any
Yeah.
topic that anybody sent to you?
Not really. You know, it's like not a lot of people send me stuff like, you know, but one thing that what I like to do sometimes is, you know, again, like I'm very in touch with what's going on with my friends constantly. So I noticed there's a lot of I mean, there's a lot of people that are dealing with death and all that stuff, right? Like,
Yes,
so
yes,
seeing
yes.
some
There
people
is.
post some stuff about, you know, their grandmother or grandfather, but more so lately, I'm seeing a lot of people like really, really, really um, struggling with pets, you know? And it's like, I've
Yes.
had,
You mean the loss of pets?
yes.
Yes.
And like, I've never, I mean, I've had like cats when was young. And then after I was by myself, I think I only had like one dog. And actually it wasn't even it wasn't even mine. It was one of my friends. And I just watched it for a long time. And then, yeah, and then he just kind of freaked out
Oh,
one
good
time.
morning, Lise.
And then that was it, you know. But what was I gonna say? So yeah, so it's like, you know, my brother he had a dog that he had from young, and they were bonding and all that kind of stuff. And I
Hmm.
remember when he said that, you know, she was getting sick, and the medicine was too expensive and that sort of stuff. And then he was kind of like in a state, you know. And it's funny because I don't really, again, like I've never really had that connection with pets, you know. Like animals love me. I'll go to friends' houses and cats, dogs, all of them, they just come at me, you know. But um, when I seen how he was, you know, the impact that it had on him, you know, I was just like, wow, like, you know, you really you're really like moved by this, you know. And then, you know, he would post stuff that he's like, oh, the best pet I've ever had, and the best cat I've ever had, best dog I ever had, you know. And I was just like, I don't know if I would be able to, you know, like deal with that, you know. Like me, I'm very good with peoples and all that stuff, you know. And I've had friends and cousins that's passed away too, you know, that I was really
You
close
mean
to.
you don't know if you'd be able to deal with the loss of a pet once you became connected to it?
Yeah, kind of. I'm thinking because when I'm in, especially with just a person or anything, you know, when I'm in 100, you know.
I know.
So
I know I'm the same way.
yeah, so when I'm in 100. So if something happens that all of a sudden, especially if it's out of my control, you know,
Yeah.
if I do something and I caused it, you know, then that's a different story. But if I'm
Yeah.
just like going through the thing and I'm just like, okay, I'm 100, I'm 100. Oh, I feel so into this person or into this moment, and it's just gone, you know. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
what happened? You know, I get that's when my analytical side just goes crazy. It's like,
It's
okay, what did I do wrong?
excruciating.
Oh yeah, and I think what's more excruciating is when you're trying to figure out like what could I have done to avoid that, you know? Even though you know you couldn't have avoided it, but you just keep convincing yourself that oh, I could have stopped this. How could I stop, you know, how come I didn't see this, you know? Like you just convince yourself.
That's one of the that's one of the reasons why people have a hard time with uh, grieving, period, is the exact same reason what you just said. Is because they stay in a state of, oh, how could I have changed that? And why is this happening to me? And, and with pets, I grew up in the country until 11 years old, moving to the city. And now having my dogs, I'll be honest with you, my dogs, if I didn't have my dogs, Wendell, I would not be here. My dogs have, I was, I didn't have my mobility I was like literally with everything that's happened to me, I am healthier today than I have been over the past 12 years. My dogs, when my knees couldn't get me up off of that toilet, my dogs did. When I couldn't get out of that bed, my dogs pulled me out of my bed. When I had to scoot around in this apartment on a walker, my dogs pulled me around.
Well,
My dogs have wiped more tears off of my face than any
hmm,
human being ever have or will.
yeah, I can imagine.
Like, my dogs are my best friends. There is no human that comes between me and my dogs. And I'm sorry to say it, I
Oh
love
yeah.
my kids and they're grown kids,
Yeah.
but my kids don't even come between me and my dogs. That is a necessity for me. They are not just pets and they're not just family members. They sustain my life. When I'm all messed up and my energy's whacked, my dogs come and regulate my energy.
That's amazing.
So
That's
it's
super
like
powerful.
I need my dogs. There's no like, and they've kept me going because I've had a really rough stint over 12 years. And honestly, even my mother would say, if you asked my mother,
Hmm.
she would tell you, Tobi without Big Head, she wouldn't, no, Tobi wouldn't be alive. Like literally. When I was all crippled up, couldn't walk and all this shit, Big Ed forced me to get up and walk again. Like, they bring a certain side out of you that no human can.
I can see that. I can
And
definitely
that's
see
why
that.
it's so devastating.
Right. And
Because you
even
know
that,
what? You tell your dog your deep, darkest secrets. Big Head, if she could talk, holy fuck. You know what I mean?
hey, you're gonna get us banned. Watch that.
No, but
You
seriously
mute
though,
us.
like,
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, and another thing too is that, you know, going back to like, um, I don't want to say religion per se, but you know, when you go back to like the Bible, you know, they say that, you know, animals were put on earth for us to be sustained, right? So we're supposed to, so technically speaking, every animal that's on the earth, we should be able to eat, right? But now what happens is most of these animals have become domesticated, right? So I know, like in ancient history with Greece and stuff, cats and dogs were seen as like, you know, they were pets of the royal hierarchy, like no regular Joe Schmo off the street was able to have a dog or a cat. It was only royalty that was able to have it. But I don't know how it is in other countries, but the point I'm trying to make is that they're very therapeutic. Like my daughter, she was going through some stuff there, and she told me like she bought a cat, and I was like, why did you buy a cat? And then at first she was kind of like, because it was a kitten, so it was getting into stuff, right? So she was getting a little frustrated, and she's like, oh, daddy, I can't find this cat. It's always getting into trouble. And I'm like, sweetheart, I'm like, that's what kittens do. Like, that's part of what it is, right? And now she's starting to get used to it and that sort of thing. So, um, and then also there's like a lot of like rescue dogs, and when you go to the hospitals, they used to bring dogs to the hospital for the kids and all that stuff, right? So animals are very therapeutic for humans, I think.
Yeah, but Lee says he wouldn't be a good farmer. We grew up with animals. They come and go, and it's true. She grew up on a farm up the street from where I grew up in
Oh,
Brome.
really?
If you Google Brome, Quebec, huh,
Yeah.
it's very, very small with a
Hmm.
very, very small population. Okay,
Yeah,
even to
I've heard
this
of it.
day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it, Lise, but we're talking about like these your friends from the city? Wendell?
Sorry?
Is your
What was
friend
that?
we're talking about, is he a city person or is he a country guy?
Um, well, I was talking about you're talking about just now? I was talking about my daughter just now. She's
No,
a
no, I
city.
know, but you were talking about your friend that was devastated because she mentioned, sorry to cut you off. We're going to get back to your daughter's situation. Here, he wouldn't be a good farmer. So I just want to address that because we jumped ahead without your guy there that you saw was devastated with his loss of his pet. Was he a country guy or a city guy?
No, 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 city guy is my brother. My brother.
Oh, okay. It was your brother. Okay, sorry. All right, let's get back
That's
to
fine.
the topic of your daughter getting the cat.
So yeah, so I was just saying, like, I I realized that after, she had this kid, she was posting pictures on Instagram, and then all of a sudden it switched. At first she was kind of, it seemed like she was just annoyed with, always having to find it, and it was getting into stuff, and basically that's what kittens do, especially on a new territory. They're just exploring, right? So, and I know this because I grew up with cats like all my life. Like I can go to any house and I see a cat and I just go, cat comes to me and that's it. And like, oh, what did you do? How come the cat's all over you? I'm like, I'm just a cat person. So anyway, so so yeah, so now she understands, and now she's like, and I noticed there's a change in her, not her behavior per se, but her demeanor. Whereas before she was always like, whatever. Now she's a little bit like, hey, there's a little bit of spunk in there.
There's a
So
spark. So the
yeah,
kitten
so I
sparked
know
something in
there's,
her.
yeah, so I know that it's doing well with her. You know what I mean?
Good. No, that's good. Well, you know what they say? They say that as you pet your cat or your dog, it raises your immune levels because
Oh,
you're so at peace and
mm,
because you are feeling love or something like it's a loving state. So, yeah, that's awesome.
that's interesting.
Yeah, if you do check out the research, that's what they say. That's why they encourage for anybody in elderly homes or whatever residences that
Yeah,
their their own pets actually can stay with
can
some
visit. Yeah.
people in their residences now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I remember, what was I gonna say? I remember, I had, when I was working in the elderly, with the elderly back in the day, they used to have like a pet day where they would bring in, two, three dogs, and then they just go to each of the residents' room, and they'd pet them and chill with them for a little bit. Then they'd go to another one, then another one, and that sort of stuff. Pretty nice, actually. You know, it's so weird how like, I know I'm gonna stray off topic a bit here, but it's just so weird how, back in the day we used to have so much respect for the elderly, and now it's like people who are working in that industry is just like I don't even know where to go with that, but it's just weird how, you know, you know how to do your job. Your job is to take care of the elderly, but it's like it's easier for people to take advantage and, you know, try to take money from the elderly as opposed to actually, you know, sitting with them and learning how they cope with stuff
Oh,
because they they're the real what's the word I'm looking for? They're the real anchors of humanity right now, you know? Like
oh, perfect way to say it.
they've gone through so much things like this COVID thing is a, you know, only because of their immune system they're kind of struggling with, they're the ones that's getting the brunt of it, but if there wasn't anything like that they would just be like you know, we survived you know, freaking what's it, tuberculosis, or you know, or all those
That's my
crazy,
grandmother's attitude.
yeah, cholera and all this crazy like I don't even know I don't know where like I don't know how
Well,
it.
my grandmother's 96 years old. She lives in her own house with no assistance there. Okay,
Hmm.
people check on her and stuff, but she is set in her ways. She doesn't want to know anything about this COVID stuff because she has lived how many pandemics? She's eh, like I've lived the world wars, the pandemics, the this, the that, the migrating to Canada, the family, whatever. Hey, she doesn't want to know anything about this. She's like, she thinks it's a big joke.
Yeah, and a lot of people do, you know, like especially a lot of old school people too. It's just like I don't know, like me. I think when we
I
first started talking, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you know, I'm just like, and one person told me said something to me, and it made the best sense, and it's just that, you know, we're human beings living in a society where a lot of people are trying to just live, you know, and most of the people who are in the higher places don't want that. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? It could be personal, it could be a plan, a diabolical plan, or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you know, as long as you just do what you got to do and stay positive and just kind of stay out of the way of all that stuff, that's the best thing you could do. You know, like I remember there was a friend I had that he was always like he's always like, oh, I don't go out. You know, he'd order food to come to his house all the time. You know, he'd get people to come over and go to his mailbox for him and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, why don't you want to go outside? And he's like, do you see what's going on out there? I'm like, yeah, but it's a little too much. But now that I see it, you know what I mean? It's like it's gonna get to that point where everybody's gonna start thinking like that. You know, it's like,
Well, that's agoraphobia. That's real.
oh, yeah, okay. I
That's
figured it was.
agoraphobia. And
I figured.
why I know about that is, believe it or not, I suffered that.
Hmm,
During a time in my life where I was burnt out and overloaded many years ago,
I believe
I
it.
didn't want to leave my house.
That's
I
crazy.
didn't want to leave my house, and it wasn't a fear of the outside. It was fear of having to interact with anybody.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what it is too. Like, I mean, a lot of people are a little bit self-conscious, right? Like, you know, I know there's a couple friends that I talk to, and I'm just like, yeah, so I noticed you're not really active on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Like, what's up? You know, are you a busy person? And they're like, no, I just don't like people. I'm like, how can you not like people? You know, I find
Very
people
easily.
so, no, but this is what I'm saying. I see people as so interesting because, you know, you have like the extreme ones, you have the weird ones, you have the oblivious ones, and then you have the highly intellectual ones, right? But, you know, when people come to you and they're like, oh well, you know, I don't like people, I just kind of like to stay to myself. It's like, you know, I find that the majority of these people who say that they've had an experience where someone either tried to destroy their life or they actually succeeded in destroying somebody's life, you know. And
Yeah.
to know that there's people out there like that, for me personally, is just
Can I
like
tell you why I have a struggle with that? Because I
go ahead.
can be very honest with you. I love humanity as a whole, but my problem is that when somebody stands in front of me and they're talking, and their energy is telling me something else. Being an empath, I feel that the difference, the conflict within the person, the discrepancy, let's say, between what they're telling me and what their energy is telling me. And it's very hard for me because that right away, my instinct is to get angry because they're not, you see, there's a conflict. So that's why I have a hard time. Like, I can be very open, I can be engaging, I can do all of that. But to say to actually be out doing just whatever and being in crowds where or people that I don't know, that's it. Like, I have a hard time because most people, what they say and their energy is totally different. That's why I enjoy talking to you, because yours matches. You see what I mean? That's why I have a hard time. And when I feel that discrepancy, I like to correct it. That's why I call myself a disruptor of belief systems. Okay? But that's why I really like talking to you, because your energy matches what you're saying.
And so
See? Which is a lot of people, they're not like that. So the person that says she hates people or she doesn't like people, or if it's a he, she, whatever it is, I understand that because she's probably an empath and doesn't understand it yet.
Yeah. I think it's more, again, I think it's more like an underlying thing, like we know how
Zulu.
people,
Sorry,
like
my
you were
dog
saying.
was chewing her
No,
paw.
it's okay. It's okay. No, I don't like you were saying earlier about you mentioned that phobia there of people or whatever. So people,
Agoraphobia.
yeah, so people have a medical condition that that refutes them from actually being like in a circle with people, right? And I get it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's like me personally, I'm just like, why? Like I'm a people person, you know. So with people, like I find that they're so interesting, just the way that even to the point of their deception, it's like, I watch somebody do something and like, you know, try to get away with it, basically. And then I'm like, why are they thinking that way? Or why are they, like
I'm the same way. I
it's
want
like
to know. I'm like,
yeah,
pry, dig, 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 dig. Let's see, let's
yeah,
see,
like
let's see.
yeah, like what satisfies you in that whole process? It's just ridiculous. But it is interesting too because again, I find that when you find out, or not find out, but when you figure out people and how they do their things and how they process things, then it's easier to deal with them, especially if they're complicated people already. Like, I only have like two or three friends out here, and there's this one guy that and he's actually the guy that I do that low riding stuff with, right? And sometimes he can get a little, he's from the States, he's American, so he's been in Canada for a little bit there, so he's still kind of learning, he's still kind of learning the ropes on how Canadian people are, but that doesn't change his American mentality, right? Because American will never change their mentality, right? So, but anyway, I mean,
Well,
not
the
to.
States is run like a company, eh, and not a country.
Oh yeah, that I know.
Well,
That I know.
that's a topic for a whole nother day.
No, and it's funny because like my parents live in the States now, and my sister lives in the States now.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like, yeah, so it's almost like, and I had a couple friends that work here that moved out to the States, and they're like, "Oh, you should come check it out, come check it out." I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't, I don't want to go somewhere where it's like a regular thing to shoot up a school or something. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah,
state
well, you know
management.
what? I've got a lot of family down there too, but the States, yeah, it's the gun laws. Everybody's got a gun. I'm not going to,
Everybody,
no, 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 no.
everybody just wants to
Everybody's got a gun.
shoot. Yeah, everybody just wants to shoot something.
In Canada, you got a gun. Okay, you're either hunting or whatever. Yeah, there's some good nut jobs here too. I
Hmm.
can't say that because
Oh yeah,
Canada's not
oh yeah,
exempt from nut jobs, but
yeah.
You know, the majority of people here that are armed are for a good reason. So, you know, and I don't have to worry about, even if I'm in a, like right now, Wendell, I'm in what people would call the roughest part of Montreal, one of them anyway. Oh, please. You know, I'm not worried about weapons here, but let's say go to the States. No way. No
Yeah.
way. I'm
But
not
you see,
doing that.
but you see, and this is a funny, that's a funny thing that you brought up because, you know, when I was in Montreal too, it was kind of like the same thing, you know? It's like, you know, they say Cotonage was a bad area at that time, you know, NDG, there was a lot of shootings, you know, Burgundy, there was a lot of shootings, you know, the East End there where all the Haitians were doing their stuff, you know, Montreal North. So, you know, I'm saying all this just to kind of say, you know, we don't we can't determine like what goes on in these areas, but if you know like everybody who's going in that area, you know, they're like, okay, well, we're going to protect our area, so to speak, right? We're going to protect our area and protect who comes around here. Somebody comes unfamiliar and everybody's like, oh, who's this new face in town, right? Rather than asking them and saying, hey, like, you know, are you new to the area or whatever, da da da, they come on a defense and they're like, yo, what are you doing here? You know you're not welcome here. You know, step here again and we're gonna take care of you, kind of thing, right? So the person's like, okay, you know, sorry, and they go and they leave. Now they go back to their area and they tell everybody else the story. And then what ends up happening is now he's coming back with four people or five people. And now
Yeah,
they're all saying the
that's a
same
bunch
thing.
of crazy ignorance that
it's
happens.
it's and that's what it is, and that's why I noticed the pattern, and I was just like, you know what, like, and then also the French people were always like that, you know, because they have their own little group too, right? Their anti-English group. So I'm just like, and that's one of the reasons why I had to get out of
Oh, can I
Montreal.
touch on that French and English stuff?
Yeah, sure.
You know what I love to do? Wendell, I swear to God, the French and English stuff has gotten so raw in Quebec, it's not even funny. I went to the bank on Saturday to go and deal with something, and the manager was there, and they had to close early because the bank should have been open until 4 o'clock. They were closing at noon. But they had to keep the bank open because they had to come to the door and tell every person that was trying to get into the bank, oh, no, sorry, we're closing early, okay? So I said to the manager, I'm like, what's the problem? Honestly, I've watched you because he let me into the bank to deal with what I had to deal with. Trust me, he wasn't telling me no. I don't accept no too easily. But anyway. Anyway, I saw this guy walk to that gate thingy
Yeah.
about 12 times by the time the computer did what it had to do for me. And I was like, I just watched. I said, what's the problem? Can't you just put a sign? He said to me, no, because our sign was English then French. Somebody complained. We got a hefty fine, so we're not allowed to put the sign up. I said, what are you telling me? So then that triggered something in me, right? So then I came home that Saturday. I was like, yeah, this Saturday, I was like, what the hell, really? And then I sat back and I realized, yeah, but my favorite thing to do with all of this stuff, you go in, you speak English with them. They refuse to respond to you in English because they
Mm.
say they will serve you in English.
Yeah.
It's a crock of shit. They won't. Not in Montreal. It's French. But me, I don't have a problem with that. I speak the language. But I insist on speaking English right up until they're like blue in the face.
Mm.
And then I bust out my bilingual self.
Mm. Mm. Tell
And
you
that's
something
when
though.
I tell them to calm the fuck down in French.
I'm gonna tell you something though, because that was one of the things that kind of got me to leave there, you know. And it's like I went to I think it was like Carrefour Angry or something. It was one of those malls that I went to, and I was walking around the store and I was looking for a shirt. I remember looking for a shirt, and then the girl comes to me and she goes, she's like, "Oh bonjour, comment ça va? Est-ce que je peux vous aider?" And I'm just like, so I reply back in English. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm saying I'm looking, where are your shirts, you know? And then she's like, pardon? And I'm like, where are your shirts? And she's like, je comprends pas, donnez-moi un instant, s'il vous plaît. And she leaves. So then this other woman comes and she's like, yes, can I help you? Like horrible English, right? And I'm just like, yeah, I said I'm looking for shirts, you know. And she's like, do you speak French? And I'm like, yeah, I speak French. And I'm like, okay, I'll be nice, you know. So I'm like, oui, je cherchais les chandails. C'était où les chandails pour les hommes? And then she's like, oh ouais, son français est mal. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? It's like, okay. So I went out of my way to speak your language because you couldn't understand my language, and I am speaking the language that your system taught me, but you don't understand what I'm saying, and my French is not good. I was like, oh my God. I never went back into that store again. I was so upset that day, and I said, you know what? Screw this. Like here we are making at least we're making the effort to speak their language. I don't see them making an effort to speak ours. You know, it's supposed to
Oh,
be a
well, this is
bilingual
it.
city,
This is
right?
exactly what you just said.
Yeah,
Exactly the problem.
that's it.
Everybody in Quebec has to speak French. But where
Right.
is it that you got to know how to speak English like the rest of Canada?
Yeah,
That's the problem.
and
Because
it's
all of
funny.
this listen, I'm down to promote your language. Hey, my grandmother taught me French before I even went to school. My family's bilingual.
Yeah,
But all these French people that can't speak a lick of English, hey, get it right. Because
that's
I
right.
can speak both languages. So
Yeah.
everybody wants to protect the French language. I get it. But what about the rest of Canada? You go outside Canada, you go outside of Quebec and you can't
That's
even
it.
speak English?
That's it. You know,
There's
like
a problem there.
but like imagine. So now let's flip the script, okay? So now let's say they taught English and French in school, the proper way that you're supposed to communicate, right? So French people who are in French schools learn English. English people who are in English schools learn French. Now, if we had a common understanding, all of Canada could be a multicultural, a real multicultural country because now you have bilingualism throughout. The only
And that's
reason
how it
why
should be.
that's how it should be. The reason why they're just saying bicultural bilingualism is only because of Quebec. If Quebec wasn't even existent, bilingualism wouldn't even be a thought, right?
Well, you know something, there's a huge myth also too for all the Quebecers who have never ventured outside of Quebec, and that's is everybody thinks that French is only spoken in Quebec,
Yep, yep.
and it's not. You can go to other provinces and French
Oh yeah,
is spoken just
oh
as
yeah,
fluently as here.
yep. Manitoba, Acadian,
You know,
Acadian.
so I think yes, the language is important, but English too is important.
Yep.
That's where, you know what, your thing with the bilingualism across Canada, that would be a great idea. But I
Mhm.
think the more, imagine, with all of the new knowledge of how the brain works and how we're a sponge literally and everything receptors, I would introduce more than just English and French to any child.
Yeah.
If I could reteach my kids with the knowledge that I know now, oh my God, Wendell, they would know 7 to 10 languages before they started school because their brain can do it.
Yep. No, it's true. It's true.
If I would have known that, shit, I swear my kids would be learning as many languages as possible.
Yep. Yep. And and it's funny because going on that topic, a lot of mothers used to have their kids, and their kids would be like learning to do things, and they're like, "Why are you learning to do that?" They'd stop them from learning something that they were actually passionate about, that maybe they
Yeah.
could have been good at, and then they're like, "No, you're not supposed to learn. You're not supposed to be learning about that stuff. You're supposed to learn the other stuff." Now they're struggling because
Yes.
whatever they're good at, they can't do,
Yes.
right? Their hands are tied. So so I think, like, just for the mothers out there that are watching, like, let your kids do what they, as long as they're not blowing up the house or killing people. I mean, that's a little extreme, but if they're if they're being creative and they're doing something positive, but it's not really what you're okay with, just let them do it.
Well,
Let them
yeah,
be themselves.
because who's to say that they should govern those choices, right?
And not only that, I think that, you know, and I've noticed this a lot, like kids struggle with trying to find their own identity, trying to
Yes.
find their own you know, I ask kids, I'm like, so like, you know, like with my training, you know, I'll ask them, I'm like, so why are you taking this course? And they're like, oh well, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, I'm just trying to do something different. I'm like, okay, so what did you do before? And they're like, oh well, I was just I'm an engineer, you know. So it's like, oh, okay. So you get so you and then I asked them, I'm like, so engineer, I said, that's interesting. I said, so what, do you like building buildings and stuff like that? They're like, no, like that's just what they teach us in our country. And I'm just like,
See, that's it. It's living up to your generational standards that are set down for you instead of doing what you truly
and
desire.
that's where it came from. So as I
That's a
started talking
huge
to them,
problem.
oh yeah, and that's where it came from. So I started talking to all of them, and it seemed like a common denominator with all of them. So I was just like, so let me ask you a question. I'm like, did you ever think of like doing something else, like thinking outside, like, you know,
Hmm?
because everybody does stuff that's along the same lines as to what they were forced to learn, basically, you know. So it's like, no, I never really thought of anything outside of that. I'm like, well, you know what? I think that you should open up your mind and try something different. You know, not to say that this may not be for you, because sometimes it can't, that could be the case. Like this job may not be, the job is not for everybody. Not a lot of people can grasp the whole concept of safety, right? They just think, oh, well, as long as I put the knife back in the drawer, then I'm safe, right? That's about the best way I could put it, you know. But geez, I come up with some good ones. That one was just
Hey,
like, oh,
Wendell, you know what? On that one, I gotta throw in a joke here. You know what you were just saying about putting the knives back in the drawer?
yeah, yeah.
You do know that if you ever go into a woman's house and you check her dish rack and the knives are up in the dish rack, you leave, eh?
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Okay, I
Did you
just
see
had
that?
to give you some jokes.
No, it's all good. Did you see that? Speaking of jokes, did you see that video that I posted with that girl that was like beating up the dummy?
No, you see, that's it.
Oh,
I don't go online. I have been offline because of the certification and stuff.
oh,
So if you notice, I wasn't even online this weekend.
yeah.
I
Okay,
don't,
now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Because
like
even
on the weekends, it's my time.
yeah, of
I
course, I get it.
really, I cherish that time. And I got a lot of stuff done this weekend.
Good. Well, that's good.
And during the week, I go on, I come on here, I do my lives, but then with you, and
Mm-hmm.
then when we get off, like I do the I'm so in the books right now that I'm not surfing online much.
That's good.
So
Oh,
those kind of
okay.
videos, please send them to me
Okay.
directly so I
I
can
will.
have a laugh. Hey,
Oh
talking
yeah.
about that, listen, how much time do you have?
I have like 5 minutes.
Okay, so you know what? And then I can't get into it because we don't have
3 minutes.
enough time. No, we don't have
Okay.
enough time. I wanted to talk to you about your Wendelina video.
Oh.
Oh, I wanted to talk
Uh,
about that. I have been itching to talk to you about that since last week when I saw it.
okay. So you saw it.
Yeah, but I didn't see the whole thing. So now that I have some
Oh,
time today, I'll go and I'll look at, like, I watched about 15 minutes of it.
yeah.
And listen, hey,
You know, it's
props
funny.
to you. Just put it this way, the person that I am, the bag of questions that I have for you. Oh,
No, but it's not even anything like that. You know what it is? It was just like I remember I was dating somebody at the time and we were watching this we were watching that Medea. I don't know if you well you must know about Medea.
of
Anyways,
course.
I'm watching this Medea thing and I'm just like how is Tyler Perry like so funny at this, you know? And then the person I was with at the time was like, "Oh, I'm sure." She goes, "She's like, I think you could do the same thing, you know." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So one day we were like chilling or something, and she was into wigs and stuff, right? So she was we were fooling around, and then she just put this wig on me, kind of thing, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's your color," and I started laughing, and at first my first reaction was like, you know, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be a good sport here and just have fun with it, whatever. So I started thinking about Tyler Perry, right? So I started like doing this like, you know, woman act thing and she was like on the floor and she freaking recorded one. She videotaped one on her phone, and then one day after she came over, I think it was 2 or 3 days after that, she came over, and I heard it playing in her phone. And I'm like, are you watching that thing? And she's like, are you kidding me? She goes, I've been watching it every day since I recorded it. And she goes, it's funny as shit. So I'm like, okay, let me look at it. So I kind of looked at it like as a person outside. Like I knew it was me, but I was looking at a person outside, and I was like, interesting. So like, yeah, it is kind of funny, and I didn't know where it was stemming from. But anyway, so then after I was like, one day I was at the house, and then she like we were done and everything, like things just didn't work out. She was just too weird, and she was always wanting to go out and about, whatever. So I was like, peace out, right? So anyway, so about maybe a week or two after that, I'm cleaning up my house. Not that I clean up my house every 2 weeks, but I'm just cleaning my house like that, and I go into the cupboard and I see this thing on the floor. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I see she left her wig there, this pink wig. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, and it wasn't like an expensive looking wig. It looked like really like cheap. So I was just like, and I'm like, So I wonder how people would react to a Wendelina video kind of thing. And then when I posted it, everybody, like, I think I had like, I don't know,
So how many of those did you do?
I did about maybe 3 or 4 of them. Like if you go in
That's it?
my, yeah, because I can't remember why I stopped them. I think it was actually somebody made a comment or something, like one of my boys. And I was just like, whatever. He wasn't offended or anything, but it's just the way that he said it. I was just kind of like,
Oh,
you know
he
what?
started to get insecure in his own sexuality because he was
Either that.
seeing his boy in a wig and maybe it was making his bird jump.
I don't know about that, but he was just kind of saying like, but he was just kind of saying stuff like that, like, oh, black men and homosexuality, right. Well, people are gonna think I'm like, people know who I am. Like, people are not gonna think that. So anyway, so
Well, there you go. He tried to switch it around, but maybe he started
yeah,
having all kind of romantic thoughts for his boy and
I
he
don't
just
know
couldn't
about that.
handle it.
I don't know about that, but that's disturbing. So let's change the subject, please, immediately. But what was I
Okay,
saying?
on that note, I know you only have I had to, you know what? Thanks for the laughs this morning, Wendell. I needed that. I'm a joker. I come from a family. We like to have fun. We like to laugh.
Yeah,
And
nothing
they
wrong with
getting together around with us, it's some sick, twisted humor, but it's fun. And I really enjoyed this morning's live. I
that.
did. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, why don't you take the floor and wrap up to whoever's watching? I can't see who's watching or who was watching now, but I'm on my phone and not on the computer. And when I do that, I can't really see who's what. My phone, it
Yeah.
doesn't show me until I get off, and then it doesn't even show me who was actually on. So,
Yeah, because when I show my comments, that's the thing. Like when I show my comments, it goes right up in front of my face. So sometimes I can't even see myself. That's why that time there, the last video that we had when I was wearing the white shirt, it was kind of hard to see. That's why, because I usually hide the chat, but sometimes I try to figure out, like, I want to see who's on there too, right? Like sometimes I'm
well,
like,
you see, that's it. Because I don't know how to do it on my computer, because on my
yeah,
computer, I'm sure we could put like, I do it on my phone. I go on live so that
me
I don't
too.
even put on a caption anymore, nothing, because my computer's not allowing me to do it. Because
Yeah,
I don't know how to add you. That's so tomorrow morning I'll try it from my computer and actually try to set it up properly in the morning.
yeah. Yeah, because even like me, I always use the phone because my camera on my laptop is garbage. I need a new laptop, a whole new laptop. So
Well, I'll give you the floor to throw a message out there for everybody and then I'll wrap it up.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to give a message out when you hardly spoke really about stuff other than, I mean, death. That's another thing. But I think that the only thing that I would like to share with people at this point is that, you know the, life is really, really becoming a struggle, in a sense that, you know, I said this a couple times in previous videos, is that, you know, we're starting to get into a moment or a time where we are starting to get dependent, or we have to put ourselves in a situation to be codependent with someone in order to in order to have a life, right? Whether it be financial, emotional, social, whatever the case may be. Now, not everybody is ready for that kind of commitment, nor are they ready to deal with what's going on in the world today. People think that, I mean, we are coming close to the end of days, but people are like getting to the point where they think that, oh, they need to go in a bunker or or go on some secluded island and just hide away from everybody. And you know hiding away from people doesn't eliminate your problems, right? You're gonna have your problems regardless. It's how you cope with them that makes the difference. Like if you can take something as just what it is and just dissemble it, leave it alone, move on. Take the good from it, recycle the bad, or not recycle, but throw away the bad. And just keep it moving. Like some people get so stuck in their ways and stuck in their bad moments that they think that, oh, this is forever. And it's like, no, we make the decision of if it's forever or not, right? I'm not saying it's easier said than done, but I mean, yeah. So like, I think that if we stay positive, stay focused on what we need to do, and kind of focus more on family and close people, then yes, we're supposed to love one another, but you can't love a stranger while your family member is struggling or suffering and you're not paying attention to that. So I think we should all just kind of remember where we came from, take care of those who needs to be taken care of, family first, friends second, and then total strangers third. You know, it should be in that order. So yeah, I just hope everybody had a good day and enjoyed our little chat here. We weren't really talking about anything in particular, but we were still communicating, which is what me and Toby do anyway. So
Would you like to set a topic now for tomorrow? And then that gives you time to
add
fuel it
as a
in your
topic.
mind, and it'll give me time to do it.
Perfect. So let's do that now. Moving forward, that's a very good idea. So instead of closing off, because I know you like to, I know you like to do your closes and stuff, but you know, I think that close to the end we should do that. Like try to not figure out, but just try to discuss
Just
some
set
of the
a
points.
topic for
Just
tomorrow.
set a topic. Yeah, exactly.
So what would you like to
So
talk about tomorrow, Wendell? I give you the first pick.
wow, it's gonna give me the first pick. Okay, so let's talk about uh like what's important. Like when I say what's important, I mean like, people sometimes have a tendency of budgeting and they think that, what their perception of what's important is maybe not the same impression as what other people find important. But there are certain things that should be standard important across the board. So let's bang that out and see how
Okay, sounds good. So that's set in stone. Okay, perfect. So we'll be on live tomorrow with what's important.
or what
So
matters.
Wendell, do you want to say anything else before I wrap it up?
Yep, I'm good. Thanks for joining us, guys, and can't wait to see you on the next one.
All right, cool. Love and light, my brother.
My
Hey.
sister.
Okay, I'm going to address everybody. You guys, tomorrow morning, it'll be what's important. Okay, that'll be the topic. And I like that we're setting a topic. And that's what we'll do every morning. When we're getting off, we'll set our topic for the next day. So everybody's aware. That's it. If you guys are listening to it on a replay, no problem. You'll always know what the following day's topic is going to be. It'll be on the live. Couple of reminders before I wrap it up. See a limit, get creative. Train your brain instantly. Limit, creative. Obstacle, opportunity. All right. Setback, redirection. Simple things. Don't question it. Know what you have to do. Respond, don't react. Take that time to pause, analyze. Your well being matters more than anything. Any person, place, situation, scenario, job, anything. Okay? Your well being matters. If you're not okay, nothing in your life is going to be okay. It's as simple as that. So, I really want you guys to take the time today to focus on your well being. Take the pause. Do what you need to do to fill yourself with a little bit of life today. because we're all struggling with a lot. It's not a joke. So you got to really take that time for you. Why? Because you matter the most. If you drop today, what is there to sustain everything that you have in your life that's dependent on you? Huh? Think about that. Your well-being matters, and so do you. That is a priority. All right? I love you all. Get the most out of your day. Hey, we can get it right together. Hope to see you guys out here tomorrow. We're already in August. Enjoy the last couple of weeks you have before everybody goes back to school or whatever else you guys are doing. All right? Time keeps ticking. Even if you want to sit there sticking, okay? You got to unstick yourself. Keep it moving. All right? I love you all. Get the most out of your day. Love and light, my brother.
Like my sister.
Peace. Have a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Right.
Love you all. Peace.